Okay, the final physique update is here. 7-week cut has completed. I've started to add in some food in the last 48 hours. So it is officially over. Started at 12.3% body fat. Not sure if you've seen my other physique updates. I think I did 2 over the last 7-ish weeks or so. So you can go back and watch those, but I'm going to do a full kind of overview here. Keep it relatively concise. Explain to you basically my macros, supplements, hormone usage, training, the macro-intuitive protocol, so my actual food strategy that I used, steps in cardio strategy, and overall just the simple kind of setup that I used to drop X amount of percent of body fat over the next 7 weeks. And I'm extremely impressed with this because I got to my lowest percent body fat that I've ever gotten to in my life in the last 7 weeks. I also got to the lowest body weight, which is less important because I just use that as proxy for body fat percentage anyway, so I don't really care. But it is a good sign because, again, it is a proxy for body fat. So it is a good sign getting to the lowest body weight while maintaining same or more lean tissue, because that's a sign that I'm probably leaner than I've ever been, at least in the last 5 years. Okay, so let's get to it. So 7 weeks, final physique update, 12.3% body fat. Here's the visuals. Bam. Pretty happy with this, not going to lie. Midsection really tightened up, and upper body obviously as well. Forearms, arms, shoulders, neck, jawline even started popping a little bit more. My face really leans out when I start dieting. But yeah, midsection looks great here. So I'm extremely happy with this. Obliques popping in, lower abdominals starting to pop through. Feel really good. Hungry, but feel really good. And I'll probably do a different video on that. I might touch on it kind of as I go here a little bit, just because I find the hunger is like a huge piece of the puzzle here that a lot of people miss. It's almost like they try and set everything up to try and avoid hunger when really it's like, not gonna lie, last 7 weeks to get from here to here, I had to be hungry all day, every day for most of the 7 weeks, or at least the second half of it, right? Normal levels of hunger, maybe the first 2-3 weeks. And then the last 3 weeks, it was like 3 to 4, it's like, okay, I got to just basically be hungry all the time. There's no way around it. Anyway, starting macros, let's get into it. So here are the total calories that I started with, okay? Weeks 1 to 2, I dropped to 2,300 calories. Why did I do that? Because, and I'll tell you where I dropped from. I was eating 35 to 4,000 calories, okay? Huge drop to 2,300. I did that because the last cut that I did at the start of this year, December till March till March, it was around 12 weeks. I ended on 2,300 calories, and that's when I got really shredded. So I started to see a huge drop there. So I'm like, why would I waste time with a 7-week cut? It's 7 to 8 week cut. I kind of had 8 week on the docket, but it ended up being 7. So I was like, okay, this is short enough. I should just jump right to there, not waste any time. So I just dropped right immediately to 2,300 calories. I'm not going to lie. I use this as a time to kind of test things like this, and then I can take the insight observations and apply it to my own coaching practice with my clients. So that's kind of how I looked at this as well. I look at every decision kind of like that as well. Anything I use personally, I kind of take what's good, what's bad, and then apply it or not apply it to my coaching practice with my clients. So I dropped to 2,300 calories thinking about that. I'm like, okay, well, let's see, what is the actual cost here? What are the trade-offs? Training suffered immediately, and it should not. A lot of people, I think, have this belief like, I'm going to get weaker in a cut, and blah, 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 blah. The deficit, they're 2 weeks into a cut and they're like, I'm weaker in the gym. It's like, that's all mental. That's literally just because you believe that's real. That's not an actual thing in reality. In reality, you shouldn't get weaker in a cut really at all. You will see some interference effect later in the cut, potentially. Something to consider here, though, is your macro setup. So I haven't talked about the macros here, but actually what your macros are. You go super high protein, really low carb, or like what is your setup here? And then you pair that as well with what is your meal timing like? All of that matters way more than just like, I'm in a deficit, so I'm weaker. It's like something's wrong here, right? As well as your training setup. So there's several variables to consider here. I actually was not optimizing my meal timing here. So, yeah, so 2,300 calories, and I was like, this is, I think, a little too aggressive right off the bat. I still got to run this for another 6-ish weeks. So I did that for I forget exact dates, but it was the first week or two. And then I was like, you know what? Still a massive deficit to go up to 25. So this is where I started in my last cut. So I'm like, I'm just going to go back to where I started in the last cut because I know it works, and we'll see how we do there. So I went up to 2,500, and I was like, okay, this is more reasonable. Training was great. Continue to get stronger. Great pumps, felt good. Still getting leaner every week here. And with weight drops week to week, and then like body weight drops on the scale. And then week 5, so I'm holding this and I'm like, okay, now we're getting into the second half of the cut. Let's drop it back to 2,300. Dropped it back to here. Then I was like, okay, it's almost like this was actually more manageable than doing this right off the bat. So I dropped 2,300. obvious and noticeable hunger increase, but it was manageable, tolerable, and I noticed another scale drop consistently, and body composition continuing to get leaner. So I'm like, great, okay, let's just eat shit. This is a short mini cut, so like let's send it, right? So drop down to 2,300 calories. Keep in mind macros here, because I guess I didn't really explain macros. Macros were typically between 175 to 105 protein, 255 to 285 carb, and then 60 to 70 fat, somewhere in there, okay? On the higher end, that's 25. The lower end range that I gave you would be around the 23. Weeks 6 to 7 is when I started alternating, because I'm like, let's eat shit even more. Like, let's just get off. I got the deadline. Let's get off as much of the body fat as I can and get as lean as I can here. So week 6-ish to 7, week and a half to 2 weeks, I started alternating. So 2,300 and 2,000. So 2,300, 2,000, 2,300, 2,000. I started just alternating. So I'd hit my protein and then just drop carbs and fats. So that's basically what I was doing there. And with my macro splits throughout all this, by the way, I had my carb and fat targets, but I basically was tracking total calories and protein. So if my carbs were low for the day, I would increase fats. If my fats were lower, then I'd increase carbs. It was fine. As long as I hit my calorie for the day and my protein, then I was happy. So that was kind of my strategy there. Okay. So here's a good idea of like, so when I was alternating 2,300 and 20, oh yeah, no, it shouldn't be 21. I wrote that wrong. 2,000, sorry. Alternating 2,300 and 2,000. I didn't realize it was on my Instagram story. That's a typo. So yeah, last 2-ish weeks. So this is what 2,000 would look like. So 190, carbs around 213, fat around 44. I don't really care what these say, to be honest. I just need to hit my protein and make sure I'm at 2,000 calories. And then 2,300, same idea. 2,300 protein, I hit 185, even a little bit over, which is fine. And then carbs and fats are whatever, so that I hit the total calories. Okay. And I mentioned here too, this isn't a foundational part of my process, but it's just a strategy. It's a card you can play to reduce total weekly calories when needed. So by cycling, there's nothing magic with that. It just brought my weekly total calories down without having to just go down to 2,000 every single day, which I totally could have done. But this, again, maybe I'll try that on the next cut. I don't know. You try something new every time. That's kind of what I do. It's all experimental. Starting steps in cardio. So everybody always asks this, what's your cardio? Same system. I didn't mention this. I've said this on other videos. I use the same system I use with clients, but when I'm using it on myself, I'm always trying like tweaks, little new things, again, to see what may be applicable to upgrade and improve my client's experience and client's results, right? So I'm always trying it on myself first before I use it with them. So I'm using the same thing that I would with them. That's what I'm doing here. And we just use steps in my coaching program. Some of my clients run, some of them swim, some of them cycle. That's great, but that's not part of the coaching. You do not need to hit cardio for a fat loss phase. Long-term development, as far as health and cardiovascular health, and as well as if you have a performance goal, sure, we're going to have cardio prescribed in there. But for fat loss, you do not need it at all. We just hit steps. It's way simpler, okay? So 12K steps every day is my prescription here. 10 to 12K, I think, is a sweet spot for the vast majority of people. So if you're not hitting 10K a day, get 10K minimum. 12K is even better if your days and work permits it and you can totally push it realistically to 15. Do it. It helps, okay? When you're in a fat loss phase in particular. What's more important than the daily step target is the daily average, which can be hit by your weekly total. So that's why I say 12K steps per day or 84K steps per week. Now, I was not perfect with this, but I was close, hella consistent. So I had some 9 to 10K per day, 10K days, but pretty damn close, if not exceeded my 84K steps per week very, very consistently. I would run 25 to 35 minutes 2 to 3 times per week, sometimes 1 to twice. This is kind of just a side quest thing. Like I said, you do not need to do this. Everyone thinks like, I got to start running to get in shape. No, you don't. You literally just need to run. You literally just need to walk. You just need to hit steps. That's all that matters. When I run, I like running for 2 reasons. In a fat loss phase, it's great because I can get more steps in less time. But the second reason was totally unrelated to body composition. It's just great mentally. I feel good when I run. And it was just a goal of like improving my cardiovascular fitness. It was just fun, total side quest. So it just had the side benefit of also supporting my step targets, which would improve my current body composition goals. So double whammy there, but you do not need to do that. Okay. If someone's in a fat loss phase and they enjoy running and they want to use it as a strategy for like time economy, then it's like, yeah, you're kind of just looking at it like running is just a vehicle that compresses your step targets into less time. So if you're strapped on time, it's like, just start running. Like it does help, right? So you can mix running and walking. On certain days, I would mix running and walking. I hit my 12K way quicker, obviously. Okay. Something to consider there. Workouts. So I started with push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, rest. Okay. I would run kind of intermittently throughout here. Maybe once or twice, like I said. And then I've been dealing with this like shoulder thing, right side. So I was thinking instead of doing push and pull back to back, I would go push legs. So I'd put the legs in between the push and the pull. So upper, lower, upper instead of upper, upper, lower. So upper, lower, upper, then rest, then back to upper. And then I would either do a rest or a pull. So even here, sometimes I would do a push and a pull back to back. But in most cases, I was going like push, rest, and then pull. So this is the split I'm currently doing now, and it seems to be working pretty good. So splitting that up was good. Here's my my supplement. So testosterone, the juiciest one that everybody wants to know. So I'm on 175 milligrams testosterone. This puts me, I'm probably going to do blood work on one of these videos and kind of show you, especially the next time that I do it. But 175 milligrams testosterone per week. Haven't changed this in almost 2 years, if not at least 2 years now. So that's just been consistent. I've kept that when I'm at my heavier weights, at my lighter weights, at my same, but my in-between weights, whatever. It's all, that hasn't changed at all. So it's not like I increased that. I added any steroids or other hormones or whatever. It's like, no, that was the exact same. That was static for the last 1 to 2 years, has not changed at all. Okay. And this puts me, from what I can tell, I'm going to get updated bloods again, and maybe I'll share that in a video, but this puts me just outside normal range. So I'm not going to lie and say that this puts me into the normal range. This puts me just outside. It's nothing crazy like a crazy steroid cycle or anything, but it puts me just outside that top end for sure. I think 125 to 150 is probably within range in the top end, if I had to guess, but 175 puts me just above. So full transparency there. If you have any questions on testosterone or anything around that that I can answer, then just let me know. You can just put it in the comments or DM me at I am Tim Walcott on Instagram. So 2 to 3 grams of magnesium bisglycinate. This is every single day. And then I use 400 to 800. I use vitamin E every single day as well. And then, sorry, I had to pause there. 400 to 800, I use vitamin E every single day. And then B1 benfotiamine, 300 to 500 milligrams every day. Now, this isn't something that you should copy. I think most people should be on magnesium bisglycinate for sure. Probably vitamin E. I'm really, really bullish on vitamin E. For a lot of reasons, because I think it's going to help with balancing, I think, a lot of like the high PUFA diets that people have. And I'm not super anti PUFA or anything, but I do think there's a balance that's kind of gotten thrown out of whack in modern day diet patterns. So vitamin E is great for that. It's great for skin, and it's a super potent antioxidant just in general. B1, this is a more like esoteric alternative health thing that I've been using on and off for my gut health and gut motility and things like that, as well as like fatigue stuff that I've dealt with in the past, which it appears to be some type of autoimmune that I've dealt with basically for the last decade or so. So this is kind of experimental in that regard. As far as like sprinkle in some stuff that I try here and there, DISIP, this is a peptide, so deep sleep inducing peptide or delta sleep inducing peptide. So this is injectable. Take a tiny little sprinkle. It's an amino acid. It's what a peptide is, or it's a string of amino acids. So I took that a few nights and I saw some decent benefits with it. I've taken it in the past, like last year sometime, didn't see any benefits then, so I can't really tell you if it's worth it. I'll probably try it again in the future. Valerian root, I see benefits with this sometimes. It helps with, it's a natural way to increase your body's GABA production, which helps with sleep as well, so that was a sleep strategy. Aloe vera juice, I've been taking that consistently, a shot in the morning, shot at night, try and do it on an empty stomach. That's to help with gut health stuff. And then vitamin C I'd sprinkle in here and there to help with manage like what appears to be like histamine. It's kind of side tangent stuff, but just general health stuff that I'm also kind of managing. L-theanine's a sleep thing as well, so I would take that at night. And then Shilajit, I've taken this in the past. I'm starting to take it again just to see if I notice any general energy, cognitive stuff. Shilajit, you should look into it. It's kind of cool. It's this resin, basically. It's full of like different trace minerals from the Himalayan mountains, apparently. Anyways, okay, so oh my goodness. Macrointuitive protocol. How do you use this thing? Here we go. Macrointuitive protocol. So this is the nutrition strategy that I use with clients and that I use with myself as well. Okay. So a macrointuitive protocol, this is the macro part. This is what basically most of my meals look like. I like Brussels sprouts, especially when I'm dieting. Very filling. So here's some red meats. There's probably some buckwheat or cream of rice under here. Got some chicken breast here with some Frank's hot sauce, some type of low calorie green salsa, red onions, and then probably some carbos, starchy carbohydrates underneath there. and then Brussels, avocado, ground turkey probably, and then some type of starchy carb underneath. Typically, my starchy carbs would all be like buckwheat or cream of rice for the most part. These are tracked, weighed perfectly. That's the macro part, right? Structure and rigidity, data-driven, precision, reliability, predictability. We know exactly what we're eating, okay? Now, that's 92-ish% of my meals. I say 92-ish% because two off-plan meals, untracked meals per week, which is the intuitive part of the macro-intuitive protocol, totally untracked meals, they end up being around 8% of diet. Okay, so this was a meal I had at my family's cottage. My cousin smoked a brisket all day. That's what this is. No tracking, no weighing. Put a skewer of shrimp, some homemade salad from the greens from my dad's garden, and then some potatoes, I think, from my dad's garden as well. Delicious. There's like olive oil and vinegar on here. Seasoning on all these, maybe some butter or something, maybe coconut oil. I'm not sure what kind of fats they used in the mashed potatoes. Typically butter, right? But anyways, nice home cooked meal. Delicious, well balanced, digested great. Shawarma here, takeout when we were away for one of the weekends, which I'll get to in a second. And then went out for breakfast with some friends for this one. So fruits. This is like a ham and veggie omelet, and then some flat top grilled potatoes. Sushi. Go out for date night with my wife all the time. We get sushi plenty of times. Went out for date night with my wife at a new restaurant near where we live. Asparagus, potatoes. I think this is lamb chops or something, and some beets. This was delicious. A little bit more of like, got hair in my mouth. A little bit more of like a fine dining spot. And then there's another one. I forget what this is. This is like octopus salad or something with some cassava chips or something. This was cool. Anyways, random dish, but like we like to eat out on date night, and we like to eat out anyway. So this would be basically capped at twice per week, around 8% of my meals. This is the intuitive part. So this is an opportunity for me to practice completely untracked eating, intuitive eating skills, habits, mindfulness, self-awareness, decisions, and deliberately making decisions, intentional decisions around my food. These are the skills that basically help with sustainability long-term, because the reality of the matter is you and I are both not going to follow a super strict plan for the rest of our lives. So I see these as like deposits long-term that help me with long-term maintenance. That's what I'm heading into now that the fat loss phase is over. So this is all part of the process and the program that I put my clients through. Here, free meals versus cheat meals. A lot of people are like, oh, free meals. So these are your untracked meals. It pretty much sounds like cheat meals. No, they're not the same thing. Because the thing with cheat meals is they like are inherently like antithetical to the plan, cheating the meal or cheating the plan, right? You're cheating on your plan. That's why they're called cheat meals. These free meals are actually part of the plan. So they're not cheating at all. Cheat meal would be like, if I was out for breakfast as an example, pancakes, waffles, bacon, OJ, whatever, feel like trash for hours after, not pay attention to how I feel and just eat as much as I can because I'm going to be back on the diet tomorrow. So I'm just got to get it all in. Horrible way to think. Massive spikes up and down in mood, digestion, scale. You could erase progress on the week from that. It's horrible, right? Free meals, balanced meal of foods that I digest well, stopping at 80% full, feeling amazing all day, and actually choosing foods I like. So like fruit, omelet here with smoked salmon, and then some flat top grilled potatoes. Delicious, right? Not a super low calorie meal. It's not, I don't care. This isn't meant to be tracked. It's just meant to be deliberately decided upon, and decided with intention. And then, like I said, I'm choosing foods that I also digest well and I'll feel good after, and then stopping at around 80% full so I'm not stuffed. And you do that twice a week while tracking everything else. You do that, you can lose fat very consistently. I do this with all my clients, and as you can see, it works for me yet again. I've done this many, many times with myself. Here's the events. So here's a good example of like how I navigated some of these. So start date of the diet was July 15th here. And then right when we got back from Vegas, and then my family's cottage is here linked in purple. And we went from Sam's clients had a competition show. So I went for that as well. So I was totally, not off plan here, but off routine. So I had to bring meals or find meals, weigh and scale some of my food out. And then I think I even did some extra free meals here, to be honest. So I just had to lean into those intuitive habit-based eating skills. And then we went to my family's cottage for the last 2 days here. So yeah, good example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days completely off routine in the middle of a fat loss phase. Didn't slow me down one bit because I have a system, super simple system. That's what the macrointuitive protocol is designed to do as well. So you're not like freaking out when you have these like normal life things, right? Here's August. So I did a calorie drop 2,300 on August 13th. And then August 16th, I was gone all day with my buddy canoeing. That was gnarly, like 10 hours, I think, straight. It said 12 here, but that's when I got home. So it was probably around 9 to 10 hours of actual canoeing straight. Planned ahead, brought meals that had already been tracked, and then had some cigars. I don't think I had anything actually off track here, but this is just a good example of like It's off routine. It's kind of weird, right? A lot of people try and like make their routine like perfect when they're dieting because it does make it easier, right? But like that's not life. You're going to have a break in routine. Here's my scale weight to give you a visual. So 183.1, July 15th is when I started. You can see the drops here, flat here, all the way along here, right? That's like almost 2 weeks. And then boom, drop, flat here for a week, week and a half, drop, drop, flat kind of here for a week, week and a half, and then drop. And all-time low today, which is actually 2 days after I started adding food back in. So sometimes you'll see that you start to add carbohydrates back in, calories in general, and then you see a couple more drops, which is very, very interesting. And my body composition really visually looks the best yet. This is part of like what bodybuilders are doing when they're peaking, right? It's kind of like a mini micro version or a micro reflection of that. So I got down to 170.4 as of today, actually. A few hours ago, I weighed in 170.4, which is pretty freaking sweet. So I actually ended up losing 13 pounds, I guess, almost 13 pounds. I don't really care, right? This is a proxy for body fat percentage. Everyone focuses way too much on the scale. Matters a lot less than they think. It matters. You should be tracking it because, again, it is a delayed proxy for body fat percentage. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm going for look, I'm going for feel, I'm going for body fat percentage and the actual body composition, right? So 12.3% is where I started. I got down to 9.4. That's a 2.9% drop in 7 weeks, which I'm very proud of. Like, that's awesome. And I achieved single-digit body fat percentage. Now, they say with DEXA, there's like going to be a 3-point variance. So this totally could be 12. This could be 15. I don't know. But like either way, it told me single digit. I'll take it. And also what's probably more reliable is at least the delta between the two. So this is cool that I lost just about 3% body fat percentage in 7 weeks, which is pretty freaking sweet. Here is my actual DEXA results. So July 18th, you can see here, I lost, or this was current body fat. Total body fat would have been 10.1 kgs. Body fat percentage was 12.31. And here's my RMR, right? So this is actually how many calories per day I would require at rest, which is really, really cool. Here's a good example of how much metabolic adaptation happens. So I only lost, look at this. Okay, so the RMR, 1792. So that's 40 calorie change from being hungry for 7 weeks straight, reasonably aggressive fat loss phase. And a lot of people think like, oh my goodness, like I got to keep dropping my calories. No, you don't. Like I know I moved mine around, but I also went up and then came back down, right? So realistically, I see this with clients in practice all the time too. It's like your resting metabolic rate does not drop that much, which is called metabolic adaptation. It's like that doesn't happen as much as you think or as quick as you think. You can drop your calories provided you're actually in a moderate to aggressive deficit and hold that for weeks, if not months on end. Seriously, you can lose weight on the same calories for a long time. September 4th. So here you go. So body fat, this dropped 7.28 kilos. I dropped, almost 3 kilos of body fat, which is cool. I also lost lean mass. So despite being on 175 milligrams of test, I'm not going to lie, I would have thought that would preserve it better, but lost some lean mass. That's typical. Every time you diet, whether you are natural or not, you are going to lose some non-zero amount of muscle. So that tracks. I just didn't think it would be that much, if I'm being honest. So maybe that's affected by hydration status. I don't know. Anyways, body fat percentage, 9.42. So down from the 12.3. And then, like I said, the RMR, which I found super, super interesting. Okay, next steps. So next steps right now is get calories up to maintenance ASAP. Everyone reverses. You don't need to reverse diet. You can call it that. I call it that sometimes, but you don't really need to stair step anything. You will probably gradually increase calories over time, but it's not this like slow stair stepping thing, like adding a couple hundred calories. Like, no, get up to maintenance as fast as you can. That's the healthiest and most effective way to actually do it because you don't want to be in a calorie deficit longer than you need to be. And maintenance is a range, right? So for me, 3 to 3,500 is kind of where I'm shooting for right now. So I'm going to eat around 3,000 calories over the next 2 days. And then I'm going to be intuitively eating. My plan right now is I'm going to Europe in 2 days. So I'm not going to be tracking anything. That's my plan anyway. I'm just going to be using all of the intuitive side, the 8% meals that I use in my protocol. I'm just going to do that for 100% of my meals while I'm traveling. I've done this before, and it's always a good opportunity to put those habits to the test and improve those skills. Because if I can't maintain my fitness and my body composition while I'm doing that, then I really have no sustainability long term, which I'm not interested in part-time results. So I'm going to hang out for 24 weeks in a maintenance phase to slow grow. Okay. So I already dieted at the start of this year, 12 weeks. I dieted now 8 weeks. So that's 20 weeks out of a 52-week rolling period of a year. And to me, the rule that I have is that I always follow this rule is going to be, I want to spend in any rolling 12-month period, I want to spend more time outside of a calorie deficit than inside one. So because of the cost of being inside a deficit. So I dieted twice this week, or twice this year, twice this week. So I'm going to spend plenty of time increasing my metabolic rate, increasing lean muscle tissue, practicing these intuitive eating skills, practicing with how much flexibility I want, how much restriction I want, and testing those waters, as well as spending time improving my performance with running, maybe spending some time with high rocks as well, because I have some friends that want to do that. So I'm like, hey, that could be fun. Do a high rocks competition, improve the intuitive eating skills, more habit creation, developing long-term maintenance. Like I said, the various performance goals. Improve gut health and sleep is a big goal that I want to improve on over the next six plus months. Like I said, build lean muscle, of course, gradually gain strength. And then the whole goal here as well, one of the overall ones, is hold similar body fat percentage. Based on my numbers last time, I think I can hold 11 to 12%, because I held 12.3 at the start of this, up until the start of this fat loss phase. And that was very easy, 12.3%. So I really think with just turning the dial a little bit more to some more structure and tracking, I think, but keeping calories high, of course, in a maintenance, I think I can hold 11 to 11.5. But we'll see. I'll get another DEXA and we'll put it to the test and actually see what is actually maintainable long term from a body fat percentage goal. Because you don't want to be super lean long term. Like, that's not healthy, right? But what is too lean? I don't know. We got to figure that out. Single digit body fat, probably not healthy long term. But 11 to 12, I think so. We'll see. Anyways, hopefully you got some benefit from this. If you have any questions on anything about this, please let me know in the comments below. I answer all of them. And you can always send me a DM anytime on Instagram at @IamTimWalcott. I answer all of those as well. People ask me plenty of questions in regards to like how to apply the macrointuitive protocol to their nutritional diet if they're going into a fat loss phase, or if they're coming to the end of the fat loss phase and they're like, bro, how do I hold these results? How do I maintain this? Like, well, I'm glad you asked, because this is what I help clients with constantly. So if you want to learn about how I would kind of set up a maintenance phase and you want to run some questions by me, I'm happy to help you. Yeah, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Happy to have you here.